Hey folks, it's Travis here with my sailing vessel Panda Paws, doing a little bit of spring readiness. So over the winter I keep the whole boat tarped over with a, I don't know, I think it's a Harbor Freight 20 by 10 or 20 by 12 tarp that this year was interesting. So because the radar arch fell down on the trip to Medora State Park last year, I had to jerry rig it. You can see the two ratchet straps that are holding it in the forward position. Yeah, that's a repair that's waiting to happen right now. I slung the mast underneath the arch rather than sitting it on top, and that way the whole thing is in compression even though it's still tilting backwards a little bit. I figured that was just a little bit safer than the whole thing being in tension with the mast on top. But because of that, the tarp didn't fit over the arch, and so it was all kind of scrunched up. But since it's the beginning of April, and I figured, you know what, why don't we just call this for what it is? I pulled the snow stakes, I took the plow off the tractor, took the tarp off the boat, which means spring's here, and we're just gonna let it be spring right now. So I'm doing a little bit of prep. My goal is that, you know, sometime in May I'd be ready to get out, if not maybe a little bit sooner. I got some weekend plans between here and there. So the usual, you know, scrubbing, cleaning, what's going on, all that kind of stuff. So for this year, I've got a couple of big projects that I've been holding off for a while. And I ended up getting a little bit of a windfall that I could use to make some headway onto some of them, and my goal is that I can get many of them done by the time the summer comes around, enjoy the sailing season a little bit more. So one of those is up front here on the bow. I've got this Minnkota Deckhand that I got from the local lake. It's got my navigation lights attached to it, that way there was a little bit better clearance on them. As much as I liked the idea of this unit, and it matches the color scheme easily, it's not as heavy duty as it could be. It'll haul up the Danforth anchor that I've got, and you know, it's not a big deal, but I did want something just a little bit more sturdy. In addition to the little stainless link here, you know, that's like 1/4 inch line. So fine on the lake for just a quick overnight with no wind and stuff, but not the most robust. For the most part, I actually pay out anchor line from the cockpit with the heavier duty anchor for the you know, when I'm gonna be hanging out there. So a treat to myself is that I got a used Lewmar V700 that I'm gonna mount in right underneath that same spot. That'll allow me to use the anchor roller here, allow me to keep my bigger stainless steel, I think it's a 12 kilogram stainless steel, Delta anchor, and then the Fortress, I think it's an FX7 if I remember right, aluminum anchor I can keep back in the cockpit with some line for an emergency run. But all the wiring and everything is set up for it right underneath. It's just a matter of pulling this unit off, filling in some holes, drilling some new holes, getting the whole thing set up. The good news is I've got another project that I want to start up this year, and it's hard for me because I want to do it all at once and I know that I can't, but this Minnkota is going to get used on a little skiff project that I got. All right, one area because of that arch failure that I've been looking into is how to add some additional stainless steel railing to go from the arch up forward, maybe around here, add a little bit of cockpit protection if you want to call it that, but really just to distribute the load a little bit. On the solar arch, I've only used some clips and what do you call those? Muffler clamps that held it in place fine temporarily, but I did get some 3/4 inch aluminum fittings that I think will do better to keep the arch in place. I was able to get a horseshoe buoy over the winter and the holders for that, so I've got a throwable on the port side as well as the life sling here over on the starboard side. You can see here One of those big purchases for the year was the Ruddercraft stainless steel and a really nice NACA section HPDE rudder blade. So that is in, subject to me getting the tiller finished up. I wanted to do something a little bit different on the tiller than the wooden one that they supplied, so that's a little work in progress to finish up. I did get the outboard down, and we'll get that running and tested and all that before we head down to the lake and take care of some spring commissioning on that one. Today, one of the things that I was looking at was some trailer dimensions. I've been interested in getting a tandem trailer, tandem axle trailer, just to help with a little bit of the load distribution. I feel like it's a small thing, but it's just a little bit better to have that boat's weight spread across two axles, ideally two 3,000-pound axles. Potentially get a little bit more room up front on the tongue. That way I can back in and deploy a little bit easier. Something that I've been constantly thinking about is whether or not do I transfer these bunks over to a new trailer, or do I go back to rollers if the trailer has them. I was looking at one the other day that looks beautiful, but when I did the count, I was thinking, well, if I wanted to upgrade those rollers, how much would that be? And just the rollers alone, I think, was something like $1,000 or $900. It was just a lot, and it really made me think about, hey, if I get a trailer, how much work am I going to be doing on it too? One thing I was impressed with this year, I did put these aluminum jack stands underneath the frame of the trailer for some stability through the wintertime. They've held up great. It's really stable, easy for me to be on, take some load off the tires. Some things like getting the buddy bearings back on will certainly help this trailer out as the year goes by. My goal is if I can get a tandem for the sailboat, I'll just repurpose this trailer to be the tower for the little skiff that I've got. So today, one of my little tasks was to take my brand spanking new 6-foot aluminum with yellow cap, because I'm vain and I wanted everything to match. So I got a little bit taller ladder so I can get in and out of the boat easier here at home. Happened to find one that I liked the color scheme for, but I did get both sets of spreader boots on. Port side, starboard side. I got to clip the zip ties here now that I got them in, but that looks a good bit better, and happy that I've got that one finished up. The just small things that are all coming together. Like I said, got to get the arch here set up so it's a little bit more stable, more sturdy. I did get a new weather unit. I'm not quite positive that I like the placement yet. It's just a little bit too high if it's going to be on the arch, and I don't think I want to put it on the mast right now. At least that's where I'm thinking. The wind speed measurements that I'm getting are perfectly fine. This is really more for when I'm anchored and I want to see what the weather is outside. I've got a place for that, and then the unit itself is actually in the house, so when the boat is here, it's serving as a weather station for us, and yeah, I really appreciate that. So little things, but it's gonna be a good year sailing, gonna be a good year boating. Heck, it's always a good day when you're out here messing around on boats, so hope everyone's doing great. I'll try to pull together some footage as that anchor roller goes in. I've got about 100 feet of 1/4-inch chain that should work perfect with it, as well as a combination rode and chain setup. So I got a couple of options there, and yeah, gonna be a good spring out here from Panda Paws.